This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hello, everybody. This is Joe E. Legend, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Joe E. Legend.
That sounds like Howard Finkel giving me the big intro. Thank you.
Absolutely. We like to do it big here.
Yeah.
How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing all right.
Can you tell us what you got coming up next?
Let's see. I've got a seminar coming up this Sunday for Champions of Wrestling in Germany. I've got a gig tomorrow for a different thing entirely, but the biggest thing I want to quickly shell out there, it's available on Amazon now. It's the first book in my autobiography. It's a 3-book series. The first book just came out, and it's called Joey Legend, and No, I haven't heard of you either. So it's doing pretty well thus far. I'm pretty happy with it, and I don't even have a copy of it yet, but I've already signed a bunch of copies from other people who brought them to me. So apparently I'm way down the list of importance on this thing, but what the hell?
Yeah, just write it. We'll take care of the rest.
Thank you.
And by the way, fantastic title of an autobiography as well. Oh, hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Title than a serious title or a presumptuous title.
Right, and we can find that on Amazon, you said?
Yes, sir.
And where else can we find you on social media as well?
Okay. On Twitter, it's Lord Joey Legend, because I'm a Scottish lord, legitimately. On Facebook, there's a couple of Joey Legend sites, a couple of fan sites, and there's the one I actually look at. I don't know how to describe it other than the photo on it is a picture of me with a white background holding the Japanese belt I was carrying years ago. And also, if you go into my real name, Joe E. Hitchin, I look at that one. I should probably be more professional, but that's what I do too. And then Instagram also, I believe, is Joey Legend. I don't know how I got the Instagram account. It just kind of, a buddy of mine sent me a link to look at, and I had to click 4 different things, and all of a sudden I had an Instagram account. Don't know how the hell I did it. But either way, I think it's Joey Legend on Instagram as well.
And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media and his book will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Thank you very much. That makes it so much easier for me.
Oh, yeah. And it makes it easier for people to find you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about your book. Obviously, 33 years in the business. What was it like? I'm assuming the first book is about, those first couple of years, no?
Yeah, for the most part, it's from like the first wrestling show I ever went to, where oddly enough, I was like 14. I didn't start training until I think I was close to 20. And but I met one of the guys who would end up training me, Sweet Daddy Siki, at that event. And my dad went absolutely crazy. He's, "Oh my God, Sweet Daddy Siki!" And at the time, I was like, "Who?" And then turns out years later, the guy's one of the most formative people in my life. But yeah, it starts out with that and a bit of my martial arts background, and then it just kind of rolls into my training at Sully's Gym in Toronto, and then my first couple of indie shots, and then I only had about 3 shots, and then I went off to Japan for FMW and did more indie work, did a lot of stuff in Winnipeg for West 4 Wrestling Association, which became IWA Hardcore. And then I believe the book finishes up just as I'm getting to South Africa for the first time.
What has it been like to kind of re-encounter all of these adventures?
The weird part of this whole thing is that I was asked a bunch of years ago to write this autobiography. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I put together, I just started writing. Every day I'd write a chapter. Doesn't take much. So I was knocking it away, and then time just got away from me. I had a 3-book deal, and then there was an issue with the one publisher, so we pulled it. And so it just kind of sat in limbo. And I'm involved in writing these other books, which actually were very close to finalizing the deal for a couple of TV shows and movies off of it. With this author from Scotland. Her name's Crystal McCarrington. That's her professional name, her nom de plume, whatever. And she, I got in touch with her, I think, over LinkedIn. And we just kind of shot the breeze. Next thing you know, she said she's writing these books about a couple of young girls. It's very soap opera-ish. But she's written these books where these young girls, they're like street dancers, but their dad's a wrestler. And Crystal's a big wrestling fan, so she wanted to involve wrestling in it. So I read what she had, and basically the wrestling was written through a fan's eyes. So there's a lot of backstage stuff that she just wasn't familiar with. So I came in and tidied up the wrestling stuff, and I ended up getting like a co-author's credit, which was very generous of her. So she's the one who set up the deal for the autobiography, and I left it with her. And I haven't even thought about this thing in a bunch of years. And then my birthday was just September 2nd.
Happy birthday.
And, thank you. So I get this message from her, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, oh, by the way, your book's coming out shortly. I was like, hey? She goes, yeah, your autobiography, it's all edited and everything else. It's like, you're editing like 10 other things and having business meetings for these movie things. When did you have time to do that? She goes, oh, I wanted to get it done. You've waited long enough. Like, the girl's an absolute workhorse. She's a beast. I don't know. I feel guilty because, she's doing all this, taking time away from her husband to do it and stuff like that. So I'd like to apologize right now to her husband, Ian. I'm sorry for keeping her so busy, but you're a lucky guy. She's one of the good ones. So, yeah, out of nowhere, all of a sudden this book was like, a couple days after my birthday, she's like, okay, here it is, and here's the Amazon link. I'm like, holy crap, and you sold it on Amazon? My goodness. So I haven't recounted it because I've had to kind of go through my memory. People have been reading it and then go, oh, I remember this time I was at that show. I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot about it. So I'm reminiscing with people who weren't there, or reminiscing with people I didn't know were there, or I didn't know at the time. So it's a very strange way to recount the history of my time in this job.
Well, you mentioned, going back to, the very beginning, meeting Sweet Daddy Siki at the very first show that you were at, and then, some odd years later, he's the guy that trains you.
Him and Ron Hutchison, yeah.
Was that kind of like a full circle moment before the career even took off?
Kinda. Well, there were 2 gyms in Toronto. There was Mac Maya had a gym, and there was Sully's gym where Ron and Siki had the school. So I went to look at both of them. I thought, I'll do my homework, and, I won't just throw my money at one. I'll see. And I went and looked at Max, and Max, how insider is this thing? Can I use kind of wrestling inside terms here? Or? Okay. So I went and saw Max gym, and it was a nice gym. He had a great setup, a lot of weights, and he had this girl, he said, Christine. I don't know her name. I don't think I ever met her, truthfully. But she'd been to Japan. There were pictures of her from Japan all over the place. So, there was no Photoshop at the time, so I assumed they're legitimate. And he started telling me he trained this guy, that guy, the other guy. And I seen, I was like, oh, gosh, I'm impressed. And then he said he trained Big John Studd. And I was like, wait a second. And this is where being a mark worked to my advantage. Is I knew he was trained. John Slade was trained by Killer Kowalski in Boston. He wasn't trained by. So I was like, if he's going to fib about this, what else is he going to fib about? So I was a little bit taken aback. So then I went over and had a look at Sully's, and when I walked in, I just knew it was the Ron Hutchinson Sweet Daddy Siki School of Wrestling, but I didn't know if it was just Siki's name on it or if he was actually like physically involved. But when I got there, Siki and Ron were running class, and it's like, oh my gosh, like serendipity here. Like the guy, my dad was going crazy for now might be my trainer. And then Ron and Siki showed me the place. It was a lot simpler than Mac Myers. It wasn't as kitted out. They didn't have a weight set. They had a boxing ring, which was incredibly stiff. I beat the crap out of myself learning how to bump in that thing. But they were just so honest and straightforward with me. They're like, look, we can't promise to make you a superstar. We can't promise you anything. All we can do is train you to the best of our ability. Siki has a lot of contacts from being around all these years, and he'll do his best to kick open doors for you. But how far you'll go is, directly dependent on your dedication, your talent, your, discipline. And, we'll try and boost you from there, but you've got to bring your A game first. And I just love that philosophy. Like, they put it on me, and I'd rather have it on me than on somebody else. And so I pretty much agreed to sign up immediately, but it took me a while to save up a bit of cash to pay the down payment. But it was a great moment. It was a great moment. It's like, it made it seem more real. Like, this can happen. I'd never heard of Mac Maya. I didn't know he was nice enough fella. But I knew who Siki was. And I used to see Ron on TV every week on WWF. So seeing two guys who were actually, I'd seen video of them in the ring, made everything seem more real and more possible. So it gave me a stronger launching pad to start things off from.
And now you're actually training new wrestlers in Germany now, no?
Yeah, well, I teach at the CWP school at X Fights in Hanover. But we also have the team from POW, the Headlock headquarters school kind of merged with ours. I was a teacher at their school too, but now they've kind of merged with us. But I teach seminars all over the place. Like I say, Sunday I'll be at the COW school, another area in Germany. But later on in November, I'm going to be in Transylvania doing again. Which is a weird place to go, but it's cool. But I'm going to go there, and I might run a seminar there. I've been to 46 countries, and I've taught seminars in probably 40 of them. In fact, for 3 different companies in Japan, my backstage nickname is Teacher. All the guys call me Teacher because I, take guys and show them stuff and show them spots and show them moves and holes and stuff, and I guess they just appreciated it. So it's kind of nice. Also, my mom's a teacher, my brother's a teacher, his wife's a teacher, my uncle's a teacher, his wife's a teacher. So it seems almost appropriate that I would have the nickname of Teacher somewhere down the line.
Oh, yeah. Kind of another full circle moment.
Yeah, exactly, right? Seem to just walk. I've like nailed one foot to the floor and just walking in circles my whole life.
But how do you train? Obviously you were trained, and I like to call it the Wild West days of pro wrestling. How do you adjust how you were trained, back then to fit what we know today in 2025?
Well, I mean, this is not meant to be a slight on Ron, because Ron is a wonderful human being, a great trainer. But we do a match, and then Ron would kind of, my God, that was the worst piece of garbage I ever saw. Holy crap. And then he'd tear it apart, and then we'd have to go and do work again. But we learned from that regard. I'm more of a positive reinforcement guy. And I also used to teach karate and kung fu to kids' classes. So I'm more of a positive reinforcement guy. So I'd rather tell you what's good first. And then, we'll do something. I'll tell you what was good first, and then we chip away at the wrong stuff and try to smooth everything out. To me, that just works better. I don't like to bring people down. I'd rather elevate them. And it's worked so far. The big difference of the old style to the new style is that everything is very spot heavy now. Like AEW is kind of a prime example of that. It's kind of the next version of what Ring of Honor was, just like move after move after move after move. And it's all impressive athletics. But if one guy hits his head and forgets stuff, everything goes to hell. So I try to show my guys how to do, a match on a moment's notice with no pre-planning, nothing, and just go. And Ron taught us how to do that, and that benefited me actually in South Africa because I was working with this guy, Chi Cruz, who's the best wrestler you probably unfortunately never heard of, but he's a magnificent guy from Winnipeg. We were in South Africa, and we only worked once a week, but we worked at this big outdoor tennis stadium. And on Monday in the newspaper, it would give you the card, and then on Friday they'd run the card again. So on Monday it said it was me and Cheech, and Friday it said it was me and this local guy, Tornado 2. It was really, really good wrestler from South Africa. And it's like, well, who am I wrestling? Like the newspaper said two different things. So I'm waiting before the show, and then the promoter comes in, Ish Maharaj's name. So Ish comes in, I'm like, Ish, who am I working? And he goes, I don't know what the newspaper said. I'm like, well, Monday said Cheech, and today it said, or yesterday said it was Steve there, the Tornado. He goes, I don't know. I said, well, you got to let me know. Like every match is 2 or 3 falls, and it's rounds, and like boxing is rounds and stuff. I need to know so I can kind of piece something together. He goes, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm like, do you hear that music? I'm supposed to be walking to the ring right now. That's my entrance music, and I don't know what the hell's going on. He said, just go to the ring, and we'll figure it out. So I had to go out to the ring and not have a clue who I was working, what I was doing, and it's 2 out of 3 falls. And a few minutes later, Cheech came out and gave me the report from the office, what they wanted. And with no pre-planning, he and I had one of the best matches of my career. So, I mean, I'm all for being able to call it on the spot. And, I mean, sometimes putting together a big show. I mean, I'm a big Macho Man fan. Apparently, he was very script-heavy. Him and Steamboat in WrestleMania 3 is one of the best matches ever. That's script-heavy. So both can be valuable. I just want to make sure my students have all those tools in the tool belt so they're not handicapped if a situation occurs. And, I want to be able to adapt.
I gotcha. Well, kind of going back to the beginning, like you mentioned, you wrestled for FMW, Anita's,
Yes.
deathmatch company. And that was early in your career as well. What was it like going to, Japan, FMW? I imagine that it's intimidating for, a veteran to go there, let alone, somebody in their first year.
Yeah. Well, I'd only had 3 matches, and I went to Japan for FMW because Tiger Jeet Singh, Tiger Jeet Singh, right? He's like an icon, right? Okay, well, he lives just outside Toronto in Milton. Tiki and him came to me and said, listen, Tiger Jr., the guy who WWF called that Tiger Ali Singh.
Right.
They said, he needs to be trained. Do you mind working with him during the week? Because I was working in bars, bouncing. That was my main job at the time because I wanted to keep everything open to be able to go away and wrestle. And they said, do you mind coming in during the week? Your days are free. Your nights are working, but days are free. I said, okay, sure. I'm just looking for more ring time. So I went and worked out with him for 2 weeks, Tiger Ali. At the end of 2 weeks, Tiger Sr. comes back in and says, all right, let's see what we can do. So we, cobbled a couple of things together. And he said, all right, perfect, thank you. And I'm like, thank you for today or thank you for everything? He goes, no, we're done. He goes, next week there's the tag tournament in FMW, and I'm taking, Tiger Ali with me, and we're going to go do the father-son tag team thing. I was like, listen, I don't want to be like a naysayer or anything, but I know I'm not particularly ready to do that, and I just showed him everything. Are you sure he's ready? Because I don't want him going over there making a bad first impression, and you blame me that I didn't have him ready. I just want to be honest. And he said, look, everything he's done here is exactly what we need. I'll be out there with him. My name holds a lot of value over there. He can swing a chair. He can do all the athletic moves that I don't really feel I need to do anymore, my age, because he wasn't a young guy anymore. And he's got the Tiger name. He'll be fine. Thank you. I said, all right. Well, good luck. Hope everything works out. And I guess it did work out well because about 6 weeks later, Seek and Runs pulled me in the office and, do you have a passport? No. They go, get one. You're going to Japan. I was like, what? They said, yeah, you're going for FMW. So I started watching all kinds of Japanese wrestling on videotape, but it was all New Japan and All Japan. I'd never seen anything like FMW with, all the chairs and the barbed wire and the, sometimes fire and blood, more blood, right?
Explosions.
So, well, I was, they didn't have any explosions on the tour I was on, but yeah, they got to that. But yeah, I went over there and thought I should wrestle. Like I thought that was the Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. So every time I grabbed a hold, all the guys would get mad at me. Like, that's not what we do here. I'm like, it's called wrestling. Yeah, we don't wrestle. It's a fighting company. We beat each other up. So I had to learn on the fly. And, I was the green guy, so I got picked on a bit, which, okay, I get it now. At the time, I was annoyed, but I get it now. But the one guy who was so helpful, because Tiger wasn't there to protect me and help me. I was really on my own. But Sabu was so endlessly helpful to me. Like, I know he has a reputation of being, a bit wacky and stuff like that, but truth be told, when he broke in under the Sheik, Siki took him under his wing and took care of him. He was this kind of young boy, and he took care of him. And when he found out Siki was my trainer, he immediately took me under his wing. We'd get to a town at 3 a.m. that you'd swear it's like a little village. Like, everything looks shut. It's dark in every direction. There isn't a light in the window. He would know of a restaurant. He would make sure we went. He always made sure I ate. Always made sure, half the time he'd pay just because he believed in the tradition of the business. And every match he'd have critique and commentary and help. I can't say enough good things, but Japan, I wasn't ready. But it was such a tremendous learning experience that I was a much better worker when I got back. But during the course of the tour, I was not nearly the best worker on the show.
Well, in those shows, and, just being in Japan in general, afterwards, you got to wrestle at the famed Korakuen Hall.
Yeah.
When it comes to, wrestling buildings, there's not a lot that are more famous. What was it like wrestling in Korakuen Hall?
Exciting. Well, it was my first night, too. Right. So I knew about it, and we were doing TV. So it was my first time doing TV. So it was all a bunch of firsts. So, there wasn't one thing I could kind of go, oh, my God, this is it, because everything was this is it. There was a firecrackers in every corner type thing. And I was just like, got to make a good impression. And it was me and Dr. Luther beating Tarzan, Goto, and the Great Punk. I remember that was my first match over there. And, Dr. Luther does the crazy go through the crowd thing, so I just did it too. And he threw chairs, so I threw chairs. And the whole time, I'm like, half of me is going, okay, what's next? What do I do next? What do I do? How do I work with the crowd? How do I do that? Blah, blah, blah. But half of me is going, holy crap, I'm in Korakuen Hall. Like, if I could just, get on the phone and call my 16-year-old self and congratulate him, I want to. Say, don't worry, buddy. In a couple of years, you're going to be in Korakuen Hall. I would have loved to have done it. But it was a huge kind of almost dreamlike experience because there was so much going on that was just so brand new, but everything I kind of dreamt for. Everything I'd worked towards. And everything I wasn't ready for, but I was, scrambling desperately to try and make myself ready for it. And I was in a band with a couple of my buddies in high school. Very silly, a lot of comedy, called Love Rhino. So there's a wall in the stairwell where everybody goes and writes their names. It's kind of tradition. So I had to go there and I put Cowboy Billy Johnson and da-da-da. But I also went over to one area and put Love Rhino. So my high school buddies know that I put their name over in Korakuen Hall.
And somebody's asking, who loves Rhino?
Exactly. Sounds like I got a crush on Rhino. I mean, he's cute. Come
on. Going back to Sabu, you actually was able to wrestle him. Maybe before this, but the date that I had was 2003. What was it like to actually, get in the ring with him properly, after, he kind of took care of you in Japan?
Was that the pay-per-view in New Zealand?
I don't...
WWA?
That I don't know.
Okay, that's probably it. I'm pretty sure. 2003 sounds about right. Other than that, it might have been in Ireland for AWR. I wrestled Sabu a few times. The match, it's the pay-per-view from WWA out of Auckland, New Zealand. We were voted match of the night. It was so much fun. You see, I wasn't even supposed to work him. On that pay-per-view, it was supposed to be Sabu versus Shane Douglas, the first time those had ever worked each other on pay-per-view. It was a huge kind of, event for the ECW faithful. But Shane messed up his arm the first night. He had a big cast on, so doctors wouldn't let him wrestle. Because Shane being who Shane is, Shane would have just got in the ring and done something. Shane is never above working hurt, bless his heart. But the doctors are probably right. Shane sits still, but Shane's sometimes everybody in wrestling. A lot of times our balls are bigger than our brains type thing. So they had to just shift the card around because the second night I was supposed to work some local guy because we did 2 shows in Australia and then 1 in New Zealand. So on the second night in Australia, I was supposed to work some local guy, and instead they put me in with Rick Steiner, and I had a fine match with him. I mean, Bret Hart was really complimentary to me about it, which meant a lot because I really respect Bret. Yeah. So I thought, okay, well, I guess that's it. We had a good match. They were iffy on how hard they thought Rick was going to work. So I mentioned, well, on pay-per-view, he'll work even harder. I mean, he wasn't lazy at all. He did fine. I had a really good match. I enjoyed working with him. And we'd worked in Puerto Rico together as well. So there was a little bit of familiarity. But when it came to pay-per-view time, they just but we're going to have Shane come out, act like he wants to wrestle Sabu, but the commission won't let him. So then you come out, talk a big game and say you want to take his spot because they liked me on the mic. I'm pretty decent on the mic. So I had to come out and all right, give me that little weasel from Indy, I'll kick his ass. And then they sent out Sabu, and the match before us was like a 5-man X Division type match with just some like junior heavyweight beasts. They had like Jerry Lynn, Chris Sabin, Frankie Kazarian. Like it was a really stacked 5 or 6 man match. And I remember sitting there looking at the monitor going, I can't believe I got to follow this. Oh my God. And Sabu's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like he's the coolest guy in the world. Nothing phased Sabu. But the benefit we had is we could use furniture they couldn't. That's where we could stand out. Because it's just more flips and flying. I mean, they're all better high flyers than me. Sabu, he changed the business with a lot of his high flying.
Right.
But all those guys are way more graceful in the air than me. So we had to bring something different to the table. And fortunately, we could use tables and chairs and extreme rules. And there was a thing, the Vader bomb?
Yeah.
Okay. I would do that off the apron. I jump up to the middle rope between the turnbuckles and do the Vader bomb to the floor on somebody, right? So I did that to Sabu, and as I came down, he turned his head, and my elbow kind of hit his nose a bit. Ooh. And so he's like, I'm bleeding. I said, I'm sorry, what'd you turn your head for, stupid? He's like, oh, kiss my ass. So we're kind of having this mini argument while we're doing the rest of the match. And then the funny thing is later on, he lies me on a table on the outside against the apron. Then he does a running start, grabs the top rope, flips over, and crashes me through the table. And, of course, he comes down back first right on my face. And so I'm now got blood out of my nose. And I go, shit, my nose. And he gets me and goes, serves you right. And we keep going. And it was just a really, really good, fun match. It was a great time. And because we had the furniture, because Sabu's a good salesman, like as much as he does all the crazy stuff, he likes to sell the crazy stuff he does. We could take our time and really build anticipation before we blew off the next move, which would, pop the room. So working with him was a great education in that style of match as far as timing went. His timing for that style of match was impeccable. And it was down to his timing that I think we got, the thumbs up for match of the night.
No, I mean, we spoke about Korakuen Hall. I don't think that there's a bigger arena in Canada than Skydome.
Yeah.
And you got to compete there against John D. Silva for a dock match for WWE. What was that experience like, being in like such a historic building?
Well, actually, weirdly enough, at one point, I'd actually wrestled there before. They had us do a match, myself and my buddy Keith, Zach Wild was his wrestling name, at the halftime of a Toronto Argonauts football game. So I'd actually wrestled there before in the full cowboy, when I was still doing the cowboy thing, which it's ridiculous on the face of it because I have nothing to do with cowboys. I'm from Toronto. There aren't really cowboys in Toronto. And I was, at the time, I didn't much care for country music. I'm a heavy metal guy, so I didn't understand why they wanted so much of this cowboy nonsense. But either way, it was a gimmick. It was a character. They put me on it. So I'd wrestled there once, but the Skydome thing, I'd wrestled a guy named El Fuego in a dark match at Skydome for WWE. It was my first WWE tryout. There were 44,000 people. It was cool. Like, it was pretty amazing. And I mean, I had had a million matches with Fuego before. He trained at Sully's as well. And he'd had a couple of tryouts too. And I don't know what his deal was, but I mean, he's a great guy. But the whole day I'm like, okay, I've got ideas. This is what I want to do. And he's like, yeah. Okay, he's trying to like big time me or something. So I just got like, listen, the only reason you do all that lucha crap is because I took the time to freaking walk through it with you, make sure you could do it okay. The big lucha inspired gimmick. So you were giving me 8 minutes of your life. That's what's happening next, right? So we structured this match together, and he was cool all day. And so we got to gorilla position. And there's a very famous picture of Austin kind of down a little bit, looking up at Vince, and Vince is getting in his face. And they're yelling at each other. Austin's like tied to the ropes.
Yeah.
That was the event that happened. So it was a big kind of deal night for WWF at the time. So it's kind of cool to be at an event where something like that happened. But we got ready to go. We're standing gorilla, and Jim Cornette comes over, and couldn't have been nicer. As much as you hear about him, you listen to his podcast, he's very mouthy. If he doesn't like something, you know about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he comes over, and he is so nice. Like, listen, guys, like, just go out there and do it. We're not expecting you guys to pop the room. We're not expecting standing ovations. Most of these people don't know who you are. That's not a slight against you. You just haven't been on our TV. They're here for Austin, not pretty much for anybody else. So just go out there. We know what we're looking for. Just have the best match of your ability. Like, really did everything he could to kind of put our minds at ease. And then Fuego looked over out the curtain and saw all the people. He's like, oh, my God, there's a lot of people out there. I was like, yeah. Oh, my God, are you nervous? He's like, it's a lot of people. Like, so what? We're doing the same match. If it was 10 people, we've done 1 million Indian reservations. We're kind of having the same match. Or maybe taking a couple more risks to draw attention from the office. But overall, it's the same match. And I have no interest in making you look bad. I'd like to hope you don't have any interest in making me look bad. So let's just go out there and do it. And I was feeling motivated and cool about it. And then all of a sudden, this god-awful like dance music started going off really, really loud. And then Bruce Pritchard looks over at me and goes, okay, Legend, you're up. I was like, and I froze for a second, just like, oh my God, this is it. And I walked through the curtain, and all of the butterflies and everything I left behind. I felt great. And I walked down towards the ring, which is from Gorilla 70 yards or something. It's really far. I'm like, nobody knows who I am. Like, these people are just going to be bored watching me walk to the ring. This take forever. But there was one group along the aisleway that were all our fans from Detroit, where we were going every 2 weeks. And as I walked down, all of a sudden a bunch of them go, hey, it's Legend. Hey, Legend, you're a piece of crap. Blah, blah, blah. Because I was a big heel in Detroit. And so I was like, oh, thank God they're here. No, you suck, you pieces of But I got them all riled up. I was hoping, oh, maybe the office sees I got some meat. Who knows? And then we went and did the match. And just, I used to do a move. I haven't done it in years. I have both my hips replaced. So it's a little bit, I haven't just tried it. I probably just made a sissy. I should probably just go ahead and try it. But I would send you to the ropes. I'd drop down on my back. You'd go over me. Then I'd pivot, nip up, and clothesline you from the nip up, like right into the air, into the clothesline. Everywhere I went, that got a big pop from the crowd. So we get into the spot. I thought they're going to love this. Drop down, nip up, clothesline, boom, and nothing. And I remember getting so mad at the audience. I was like, you people know that's cool. Shut up. Like, I'm getting mad at them, you know? But then as I went over to continue to grab Fuego, all of a sudden I hear, whoa. And I realized the sound had to go from the folks, bounce off the roof of the dome, and then come down to me. So they did like the move. It's just the acoustics of the building messed with my ability to process it. It took longer for the sound to come to me. So it messed up all my timing on everything because I couldn't gauge what the reaction was because I can't hear people in the back row of a dome. It takes a while to get there. I never considered that. It was my first time dealing with a building that big.
Right. I mean, not too long after that, you did actually get signed by WWE. And then, you became Just Joe.
The worst gimmick in wrestling history. Yep.
How do you, hindsight being 2020, how do you view Just Joe, all these years afterwards?
Oh, I hated it. I hated it during, and my opinion hasn't changed. It was terrible. There's the thing is, it's called the WrestleMania test. You got to be able to say, your winner and new World Heavyweight Champion, and then the person's name. Could you hear them say Just Joe after that intro? You can't do it. There's nothing there. It's not a gimmick meant for anything. You could probably use it to ground floor something, but you'd have to build on it. And when they did that gimmick, they used me to get the Hunter and Kurt Angle feud off the ground, right? Like I had to go, hey, Hunter, Kurt's trying to nail your wife. And then, hey, Kurt, Hunter's smacking Stephanie around. And I was doing that backstage. And then once they got their program going, they had to pull me off it because otherwise all the heat switches to me. And that's not what I was there for. I was there just to get their heat and then I was to be pulled out. But once they pulled me off that, they had no idea what to do with me. And I remember asking, I was like, I went to talk to Gershwitz. I was like, okay, this gimmick, I'm a backstage stooge, right? He's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, am I lying or am I telling the truth? He's like, what? I said, well, I go to these people and I talk to them. I tell them crap I'm hearing in the back. Am I lying or am I telling the truth? He goes, well, what difference does it make? I was like, it makes all the difference in the world. If I'm telling the truth, then I'm not a heel. I'm a baby. I'm a good guy trying to be helpful. I'm trying to help people because there's bad stuff going on. If I'm a bad guy and I'm lying, then I am a bad guy. Why am I lying? Like, there's got to be a reason for me to lie. I can't just run around lying to people with no method. There's no point to that. The character always was backstage but never seemed to want to wrestle. What did I do for the company? Like, if everything was legitimate, why was I in every city if I wasn't a wrestler? If I was a wrestler, why didn't I want to wrestle? Like, none of it made sense. But every time I brought that up to the creative guys, they're all like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. Even Shane McMahon. Shane was like, we love your work. We think your work is excellent. We just got to find the right vehicle for you. I said, well, right now you're writing me out of a job. Like, this gimmick is not designed to make money, and this is not pro wrestling friendship. This is a business. You guys are there to make money. If I can't make you money, you guys are going to let me go, and I don't want to be let go. I want to make money. I want to make you money too, but I definitely want to make me money. And he's like, we'll figure something out. And then they bought WCW and got rid of everybody who they didn't have immediate plans for, because what am I going to do? What other company am I going to go to kind of draw any audience away? Not that they gave me much platform to draw an audience to begin with. So it was just all a big confusing nonsense gimmick that didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of a footnote to get a different angle over, and then just kind of undermined me. So the money was nice. The travel was nice. I'm still in touch with a bunch of those guys today. Stevie Richards, I'm still, talk to a bit. And, I have buddies from there and people I think are wonderful. But Molly Holly, I think, is one of the nicest people I ever met. She's a sweetheart. So, I mean, there's plenty of people who I really like from there, but the experience there, like the constant look over your shoulder, there's somebody's listening, somebody's going to stooge you. Like, there's nothing to stooge. Yeah, but they'll think of something. Watch what you say. I don't want to walk on eggshells. Like, I want to show up, work hard, do, work to the best of my ability, be used in a fashion to make money, and then make money for everybody. But apparently you got to jump through hoops, and there's a lot of, backstabbing and politics, and I'm just not a politician. I'm like the wrestling's worst politician, which I will wear as a badge of honor. Doesn't pay too many bills, but I'll wear it as a badge of honor nonetheless.
If they Do you think that if they gave you maybe just a bit of creative control over Just Joe, that you could have gotten the character over?
Well, actually, I had a couple of ideas for it that they wanted me to go to Memphis and build up. And I decided what I wanted to do was I wanted to do the kind of horror movie Broken Heart, where every time I try to help, somebody treats me like garbage. Kind of like, like Michael Myers or something, where he keeps getting bullied till he snaps. Well, if you guys don't like me, I'll give you a reason not to like me. And I was going to use that as kind of my motivation to start. I was trying to help people, and they didn't want my help, and now I'm going to hurt them, and they're going to learn. And then Randy Hales he couldn't find his ass with both hands. So he was terrible to deal with. So Memphis was just kind of a waste of time. They said, you'll be there 3 months, and I don't think I got 3 things accomplished in the 3 months I was there, and then they let me go, which I understand the release. I mean, they're on top of everybody else. Like, I'm Canadian, so they're paying for a visa for me too, not just my weekly paycheck. So I'm more of a cost that they're not making any money back from. So I understand, like me and Jason Sensation, they let us go first. They were both Canadian, both from Toronto. So I understand why, but it was just frustrating that they just wouldn't get their act together and put me in a position to draw money. I know I couldn't. I've worked with so many of the guys after they left, like tons of them, and always done well. Like, constantly. I want to toot my own horn and act like I'm patting myself on the back, but I'm pretty good at what I do. And I don't have too many people in the business who disagree with it. I have people who don't like me, and they'll complain about this. I do too much, or I fly more than a big guy should, or whatever. Everybody's got their own complaints, their own preferences. But very few people will ever say, no, can't do anything. He's not very good at what he does. Most people ask to work with me. And most times it's, guys who have had contracts with big companies. And, 46 countries in and, being the face of a bunch of them. At one time I had 12 belts for different Russia, South Africa, Japan, France, Poland. They must have thought something of me. They couldn't have hung their hat on what the WWE did with me, so I must have earned their trust along the way. So I can wear that as kind of badge of honor. Maybe I didn't get over with Vince. That's one guy. Instead, I got over with 300 promoters, and over enough that I still get calls from them to this day to be used. So, and at 56, for them to still fly me around and do it, I must be doing okay.
Well, before you did leave WWE, you were in a segment with The Rock and Stone Cold at Paid Preview. Two of the biggest names in pro wrestling.
Ever. Yeah, like 2 Mount Rushmore guys, yeah.
Yeah, so, despite what the run was, not a lot of people could say that they were in a segment with Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yeah. It's kind of having the but at least life. Well, at least you were there. At least you did this. Yeah, I would have liked to have done more. Anybody with ambition doesn't want to just stop there. But I will say that's not terrible. And both those guys were, they were top guys and I wasn't. They could have treated me like garbage and I just had to sit there and kind of take it. And they didn't. Both were nothing but cool. The funny thing was the Austin bit in that segment. They stood me and Austin out in the hall because Rock was in the locker room, and then Austin's going to walk in. They're going to stare each other down. And then while they're talking, I come in, interrupt, and then we go into that big beatdown. Well, Austin and I are standing out in the hall. He just starts chatting with me. He's in. So, where you been working? How long you been working? I said, I'm about 6. I think it's 6 years at the time. But 6 years. Where you been working? I said, well, mostly Japan. Been in Japan a couple times. Africa. Germany. He goes, oh, Japan, huh? You're a shooter? And I'm like, I can shoot. I'm not calling you on for a fight, but yeah, if I have to, I can go legitimate, I suppose. And with that, they called, okay, Steve, you're up. Steve looks at me and goes, okay, well, if I stiff you, don't beat the shit out of me, okay? And he walks away like, ha. And I'm sitting there, and then I look around going, Steve Austin just asked Just Joe to please not beat the shit out of him, and nobody heard him say it. This sucks. Like, I just want one witness. But yeah, he was just being a really nice guy. He didn't have to say that. He could have just said, yeah, I might stiff you. Just suck it up, jerk. Like, he could have been a dick about it, but he wasn't. He was super nice.
Now, we've talked about, fantastic buildings you've been in. Can you tell us about being on the Tony Candello Death Tours?
Yeah. There isn't an iconic building there, but I mean, those tours are kind of well known. I was the first one out of Toronto to go and do the Winnipeg tour, and then the next year I brought a bunch of guys with me. I brought Edge and Swinger and Zach Wilde. I think that was the first one. Then the year after we brought Christian. But the first tour, I was the only Toronto guy. And the guys all out there decided, because we had to drive this big cube van. We had like a people mover. We had like a 6-seater or 8-seater van for the boys. And then we had the big cube van with the ring and everything. And they made me drive it because I was the only one on the tour who didn't have a license suspended for drinking because I don't drink. Like, I haven't had a drink since I was 20, so they thought, oh, here's a safe bet. So they put me behind the wheel. So I ended up being the driver for the whole thing. And I don't mind being the wheel, man. I like it because, truthfully, I like to control the radio. There's a lot of music I hate, and I don't want people putting that on. So I'd rather listen to my stuff. So, I remember driving over those lakes, and you could hear the ice cracking as you're driving. Because, that day was a little bit warmer than another day. And we would be driving along like an expanse of like 4 football fields between patches of land on the ice. And we would drive by, and there'd be just the cab of an 18-wheeler sticking out through the ice as a truck went through.
Oh, wow.
And we're driving past that. It's like, this is taking our lives in our hands. And yeah, somehow we survived the whole thing. Like 24 hours driving, and we can only do like 20 kilometers an hour because you're going over these really hilly type roads. Rip the bottom of it if you go any faster. We had the power go out in one building. It was 70 below zero.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Swinger and I just picked up our stuff and went and sat in the furnace room because we thought this is going to be the last room that gets cold. And I think it was a Oxford House, so that would have been like a 24-hour drive back to Winnipeg. Like, to civilization, that's how long it happened to take. So we thought, like, this could be it. we had one of the vans break down at 40 below. We had to load everybody into the ring van. I was lying, we had everything stacked up. I was lying on top of mats, stomach down, but my back could touch the ceiling of this thing. Like, we were just all of us crammed in there. And then we got to the reservation. They had to send a truck back to repair our people mover and bring that along. I don't know how many times we almost died on those tours. It's ridiculous. Not to mention, we got chased off of one reservation by 6 truckloads of Indians with hockey sticks, wanting to kill us. So that was, I was like, let's go. Like, stop, let's get out and mess these guys up. And they were like, no, we're not. We're leaving, Joe. They're right and I'm wrong. I was just in a mood. So, yeah, those tours are mad. Absolutely crazy. But we made a good living for a lot of years running those tours. And we used to go in the summer. And we take little airplanes that, like, you'd have the pilot and 3 other people. And then all the, a bunch of the ring with us, and he'd have to make like 6 trips to bring all the crew and all the ring and all our bags and everything. And I remember it was Swinger and I sitting in the back seat, and Chris West, the midget, was sitting in the front with the Indian guy. And Chris was like, oh, this is cool. Do you mind if I try? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. And Chris started flying the plane, like zipping it all over. Like, he's going to kill us. I will give you $10 right now if you please take control of this plane again. You look like you could use $10, pal. It was, I remember Swigger and I just looking at each other. We were just, neither one of us blinked for a week, I think. We were both looking at each other. Oh my God. Who just hands the controls off to a crazy midget?
I do have to ask, why did the Indians want to kill you?
Well, to the best of my recollection, we'd gone to the, if you go to a reservation, okay, here's the thing. If somebody dies on a reservation, they shut the whole thing down for a day. Nothing's open. Not the shop, not anything. Everything shuts down. So we'd driven 20 hours or something to this one reservation. And we got there and they said, you have to leave. Somebody died. Some kid went out on the ice and huffed gas till his heart exploded. I remember that happened once. So we're like, well, we can't just, like, we just did 20 hours. Can we just crash in the gym, please? So they let us crash. And then Tony made a deal. He said, well, we've got a day off next Wednesday. We can kind of weasel our way back here if you guys want to do it, or I can just cancel out. So we all needed the money. So we're like, yeah, just do it. So when we came back to do the gig, Tony was getting the ring set up. And then the chief came in and said, because the idea was that they gave Tony a flat rate for the whole show. And then they made their money by selling tickets, right?
Okay.
So they give Tony, I don't know, a couple grand, I would assume. I don't know what Tony's thing was. Let's say it's $2,000. But then off the door, they'll make $4,000, right?
Uh-huh.
That's that type of thing. So they come out 2 ahead. So Tony gets there, and he says, okay, I need my check. And they said, no, we're not giving you a check. And Tony's like, well, how am I getting paid? They said, no, our old deal is done. Like, we're going to split the door. And Tony goes, I don't want to split the door. That's not what we agreed on. I want my flat rate. What if you don't draw anybody? And they said, well, Tub, you can take it or leave it. And Tony got mad. And the chief left and said he wanted to keep more of it now because of the argument. Something like he was going to keep 75% of it. So a bunch of people had already showed up and bought tickets. I don't know how many. But then Tony had the ring crew tear the ring down. It was only about halfway up. Tear it down, repack it in the van. And he said, all right, guys, get in the car. We're leaving. And he grabbed the cash box and we left.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so they were mad. So in hindsight, maybe I don't know how justified. I mean, there's a lot of gray area in who was right and who was wrong. But either way, that's what happened. You can make your own assessment on who was right and who was wrong. I can't say I would blame Tony. 2 trips there, and then they try to euchre him. I have to say, I don't know if I had allowed myself to get walked on, so I don't blame him for not.
Yeah, that's one place to X off the map.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we went back ever.
Another name that you've been in the ring with, a name that we love here on Wrestling With, is a one Tracy Smothers.
Yeah, Tracy's a great guy.
You got any Tracy Smothers stories?
Not a ton. The one that always stands out, we were in England together. I had to fly in. He'd been there for like a month already. I flew into Liverpool and then had to take like a bus and 2 trains and another bus. It was just an ordeal. And all it was just to get across the Mersey River. Like a car ride would have been 30 minutes, but it was like an hour and a half because I had to take all the public transit. So I finally get to the digs and I walk in. And Tracy had tried to get me a job with ECW forever ago. So he knew me, but didn't know me. He just liked what I did in the ring. And he was nice to me. So I walked in and sat down and said, hey, Tracy, how you doing? He's watching TV. He's like, just lost him whatever the show he was watching. And then when the commercial came on, he's like, so what have you been up to? I said, oh, not much. Just, had my birthday the other day, so went out and did a few things. He goes, when's your birthday? I go, September 2nd. He goes, me too, Virgo, baby, and high fives me. And all of a sudden, he was like my best friend. He's the nicest guy. But the thing I love about Tracy is that he would show up, like Brian Dixon, the British promoter who we were working for. We get there really early for a show. And if there was any young guys who wanted to, Tracy would just get in the ring and work out with them. Wouldn't, I'm going to run a seminar. I need $10 for everybody. You just get in there. Here, let me help you. What do you guys do in your match? Let me help. Like, he was always just He always just wanted the product to be better. And he wanted to help young guys learn how to be good workers so that the business would maintain a certain standard. The business lost a great advocate for it when Tracy Smothers passed. He was a wonderful guy.
Oh yeah, like I said, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show.
Right.
That being said, do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
No.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, because a dog can't spell.
That's funny because in Detroit, me, Edge, Christian, and Rhino, our gimmick was Thug Life. So that was our team name. I had no idea. On top of everything else, now we can't spell. Tremendous.
Well, another legend you've had encounters with is one Dusty Rhodes. I believe you wrestled him with America's Most Wanted. I mean, what was it like wrestling the American Dream, baby?
I got on great with him. I know a few people who just, butted heads with him because he's, at the time, he kind of was office for TNA. So, Bret Hart kind of said it best, when you're office, you just can't make everybody's dreams come true. So I think Dusty, he had some hopes and ideas, but then he told guys, I think I want to do this, this, and this, but then it wasn't feasible to use those ideas, and then they got mad at him. He was nothing but nice to me. It was just weird. Can I swear on this thing?
Yeah. Okay.
The thing that got me the most, my biggest Dusty memory, is we were at the Asylum hours before the show. We're just kind of walking around, and I go to the bathroom, and the one bathroom, the men's, is blocked off. They were doing something. They were cleaning it up, so only the women's was open. So Dusty was standing outside waiting for whatever girl was in there to come out so he could go in. So I just kind of walk up and, hey, Dust, how you doing, buddy? I was, nothing, just waiting to go have a big old shit. It's like, he's the only guy I know who can make the word shit 2 syllables. I just, he always, used, he's a fruity poo. He used to use words like that. To hear him use words like that, TV-friendly words, and then talk about having a big old shit. That just stuck to me. I thought, I weird hearing Dusty swear. Austin swears, yeah, he swears. But Dusty was just weird hearing it.
Well, speaking of TNA, you were able to capture the NWA Tag Team Championships.
It's nice.
Yeah, so
nice footnote in the resume, I suppose.
Those are the proper, traditional NWA Tag Team Championships. So, what does it kind of mean to you to hold, a championship that had those 3 letters connected to it?
I was always a big NWA fan. Even as a kid, WWF was the only thing in town in Toronto for years. NWA came into 3 shows, and not one of them drew any money. When they turned to WCW, they did Skydome a couple times, and they drew okay, but their NWA stuff did no business. Toronto just wasn't an NWA town. But I was so interested in wrestling that I wanted to be the smarty pants who knew the other company that nobody else knew. And I liked Flair and Nikita Koloff and Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. I was into all that stuff. So being a fan of, NWA just had some great tag team wrestling. Watching the Midnights and Rock and Rolls, or the Anderson and Blanchard and the Rock and Rolls, Anderson and Blanchard and the Midnights. Seeing the Road Warriors back when they were the Oh My God team, before they kind of, before they'd done the same act so long that people kind of got used to it. But when they were getting the Road Warrior pop, as it's called.
Right.
Knowing all those guys, for a brief bit of time, I was pushed with the same belt that those guys had. As brief as it was. It's still nice to be able to say it. It's still nice to be able to tell my kids, at one point, I was in one of the top tag teams in the world. And, it's nice. It's ultimately, belts are a marketing tool. But having a company get behind you for any length of time like that is flattering.
mean, like you said, you're holding 12 titles at one time, 46 countries, right?
Yeah. 47 upcoming. In January, I'm going to make my debut in India.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
What, out of the 46 countries, like, what one stands out the most to you, just when it comes to, like, maybe, like, I didn't know that there was wrestling here, or, this crowd seems different, or, something that stands out to you?
Well, Nigeria, when I was in Nigeria, I mean, Nigeria's a terrible place. But I didn't expect to go to Nigeria. I didn't know Russia had wrestling. I've been to Russia 10 times. I was their champ for a while.
Yeah, IWF, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And, Israel, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, all those Middle Eastern countries. I never thought I'd go to any of those, let alone that they would have wrestling. Like I said, I'm going back to Transylvania later this month, or about midway through November. It'll be my 4th or 5th time to Transylvania. Bulgaria, I mean, and also just the amount of times I've been places. Like, I've been to, Japan 15 times. I've been to Italy 41 times. I've been to France 68 times. I've been to the UK 147 times.
Yeah.
So it's not even so much that, I've been different places. It's just, I can't believe how many places I've been so many times. Like, there's enough of an industry there that they keep bringing me back.
That being said, where's the best food?
Oh, golly. Okay. I'm currently in my kitchen in Germany. So I might have to say Germany's got a good shot at it, just because I don't want to get hit over the head with a frying pan later on. I don't know. Italy's tough to beat, man. Italy is something else for food. But Greece is quite good. Greek food's fantastic. But I'm a big garlic nut. I love garlic. I love the Korean barbecue in Japan. That's so good. Something surprised me, like I had borscht. I didn't know what borscht was, but I had borscht in Moscow. I was like, actually, that's really, really nice. But I had no idea what it was until I had it.
It's cold soup.
It wasn't cold, though. It was like kind of warm, but it was really good. Like, it's all beets and stuff. Like, it was pink. I was like, what the hell am I looking at? But it was actually really good. It looked like I was trying to eat a strawberry shake with a spoon. It was weird, but it was tasty. The food in Turkey was quite good. I've been to Turkey like 13, 14 times. That's a place I never thought would have wrestling, let alone its own promotion, Turkish Power Wrestling. And we were doing big arenas. We were doing big business. That place is a license to print money. Our first show there was in a basketball arena with almost no advertising for a bunch of shows. Like, Turkey's a license to print money. I'm surprised they don't run more often. Turkey's great. Like, for wrestling, they're into it. They just need local heroes. That's their big thing. There's not enough Turkish wrestlers who know what they're doing. They need to get, like, Murat came in and did everything he could for a few weeks with them, but there's only so much you can do. Like, every one of those guys, they're all in great shape. They're all, like, well-built big guys. But they're still new. They're still green. They don't quite know what they're doing with the crowd. The crowd was so happy to see Turkish guys in the ring doing stuff. You get a couple of Turkish guys in there and know what they're doing, you'll make a lot of money.
Is there a country that you haven't been to yet that you really do want to go to?
Well, the weird thing is like India, I've been booked for India 10 or 11 times and it never worked out. And now it's finally working out. So just to say, for crying out loud, let's get this off the ground. I'm glad that I got that out of the way. The same things with Egypt. I've been booked for Egypt a ton of times, and it just never panned out. So I'd like to see Egypt. I'm also interested in Egyptology. I don't know. I'd still like to see Finland. I haven't seen Finland yet. Some of the Nordic countries would be kind of interesting. And I was booked for China once, but then it was like I was going to go for the second tour. They had the first tour booked up. I was going to go for the second tour. Then the first tour, they went through it, and then the sponsors didn't want to do a second tour, so I bounced out of that. But I would like to have seen China. But I'm just, I went to Nigeria during the Ebola thing.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of proven that I'll pretty much go anywhere if you'll pay me. I'm that much of a freaking whore, I guess.
Didn't you, well, I kind of understand why India and Egypt haven't worked out, because they've had a lot of stop and starts when it comes to pro wrestling, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But Finland, didn't you wrestle Starbuck?
I have wrestled Starbuck, but not in Finland. I've wrestled him here in Germany.
But I mean, he's literally the promoter for Finland.
Yeah, but it's not a big enough drawing business right now that it's financially viable to have him fly me in.
I gotcha.
Like, he would lose money because even if he sold out all the seats, it's a small building. Like, he's got to wait until, like, he's a devoted wrestling guy, and he's smart enough not to let his, wouldn't it be cool factor outweigh his I've got to be a businessman factor.
Right.
So he step by step building his business, and I respect the hell out of him for that. And once he feels it's financially viable for him to do it, where if he brings me in, I'll be able to bring more people in. More people will buy tickets if I show up. He'll bring me in. But if he's already selling out the small building that he's got, and the company's staying afloat, he shouldn't go into a deficit just to bring me over. Friends or not, I'm friend enough to say I don't want him to go into, I don't want him to lose money and lose business because of me.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Was that 2018? Was that the first time that you wrestled him?
Might have been. It's been a few years, I know that. You see, once the whole lockdowns came along, it kind of wrecked up my internal calendar.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think it was before I had my hips done. So yeah, it probably would have been around 2018.
Okay. Well, I think it's time for Joe's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Okay. We're in South Africa. My first time in South Africa. I've been there 11 times now. This is my very first time. We're in Durban. And I won't name the wrestler. I'll name Cheech. I was hanging out with Cheech for sure. But there's another wrestler who I knew who was living there. And I'm not going to name him because this kind of might be embarrassing for him. And I've heard him talking shit about me, but I'm not gonna humiliate him like that. He can tell a story. He can let people know it's him if he wants to. Wrestler down there. He was Canadian. He moved to South Africa and married this girl who was a hooker, my former hooker. So when Cheech and I were down there in South Africa, Don Callis told us one night, he said, the hottest place in town, you got to go. You got to go to this place called the Monte Carlo. It's great. And so Cheech kept saying, I want to go to the Monte Carlo. I'm like, I hate bars, but I don't want Cheech going alone. We're in Africa. Like, if he does something stupid, gets too drunk or something, they'll just never find the body. So I better kind of babysit. So I go with him, and we go down this dark road. We go like in the city and then down this dark road. And there's this, I don't know, industrial building with one little door open at the bottom of it with a light over it. And there's a guy sitting outside wearing a wife beater and holding a sawed-off shotgun sitting on a kitchen chair. And there's a little sign over the door. When you get close enough, you can see it says Monte Carlo. So we go in and we go up the stairs, and there's a steel door with the slidey thing for the eyes, so you can see through. So we knock on it, and we have to name the guy who's living there with the hooker. We name his name so they'll let us in. So we go into this place, and I'm looking around. It's a bar, and all these girls are there, and they're all hurting. And this is a whorehouse. Weird, and it's like the most. It's everything you'd find in like a Starsky and Hutch. Like all the booths have like zebra print on the chairs and couches, and it's all like disco lighting and terrible disco music, and a lot of old guys just being pawed at by these druggy-looking girls. I'm like, Cheech, I really want to go away from here. She's like, yeah, maybe we should. And like, Cheech is a super handsome guy, long hair, he looks great, great physique, and the hookers just pile on him. And so I'm like, Cheech, we should go. And Cheech is trying to leave, and they've got him by the hair and won't let him go. But I get him by the hand, and I help yank him away, and we leave this place. We're like, yeah, haha, very fun. So it turns out that's where this wrestler's wife used to work. So we go out for this guy's birthday, and we go to her parents' place. They're giving him this birthday party. So I don't bring any money or anything. We're going for dinner at their place. So we go, we have the dinner. They're the nicest people you could ask for. And say, okay, we're going to go out to the bars. And we're like, oh, I don't want to go to a bar. I hate bars. But it's his birthday. I'm not going to, be the wet blanket. So we all pile into these two cars, and we go down to this place called the Red Bull. Holds like 6,000 people. Great big place. So we get in this place, and we're walking around. I just hate the music and everything, but I'm trying to, be as positive as I can. And Cheech and I are having a few laughs. And at one point, the former hooker, like, she comes up to me, and she's like, hey, why don't you buy me a drink? And I said, I don't have any money, but I'll borrow some money off Cheech. I'll pay him back later. And she goes, oh, so you don't want to buy me a drink? She gets like right mad at me. I'm like, no, I'll buy you a drink. Let me go get some. I don't have any money on me, but I'll go get some. It's fine. She goes, oh, fine. You're an asshole. And she runs away into the crowd. I'm like, I don't want to think I'm an asshole. Like, I don't think she could hear me. So we go and find her husband. I say, listen, before your wife kicks off at you about me, I wasn't not going to buy her a drink. Like, I don't know if she could hear me, but I will. I was just going to borrow money because I thought we were just going for dinner at your in-laws' place. He goes, a drink? You didn't buy her a drink, did you? I'm like, no, that's the heat. He goes, she can't drink. She's not allowed to drink. I'm like, what? And with that, she runs in through the crowd and shoves and slaps him and screams at him and storms out of the bar. He goes, yeah, Booze doesn't agree with her. Come on, we got to go get her. So we all have to walk out and chase after her. And she runs out of the place. And we're in a parking garage on the bottom floor. So as we're walking down the ramp, she comes flying up in the one car and almost runs us down. We dive out of the way. And she screeches around the corner and takes off. Now this is 2 cars worth of people all have to pile into the other car because she took off by herself. We get into that car and we're chasing her around the streets. We're jumping curbs. We're knocking over mailboxes. It's like once again, like a Starsky and Hutch thing. So we're in this high-speed car chase all through Durban, South Africa. And she ditches us. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. And the guy says, I think I know where she went. So he drives, and we wind up at the Monte Carlo. So we all go up into the Monte Carlo, and he proceeds to have a screaming argument with her as the bouncers start drawing their guns and walking over to protect their former hooker. And we have to talk him into leaving before he gets us all shot. We get him to leave. We come back to the hotel, and we're sitting in the lobby. Lobby's a ghost town at this point. It's just dark. So we're all sitting on the stairs. We're like, listen, man, I'm really sorry. That's a hell of a night. Sorry. And what are you going to do? He goes, well, I think I can't live like this. This marriage, I think, is done. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to tell you to stay with her if this is what your day-to-day life is. And with that, she marches into the lobby, curses him out, takes off her wedding ring, throws it at him, and marches back out. So he's like, I guess I got to go talk to her. And he walks out the door, and you hear him, bah! And he jumps, and she slams the side of the car into the post he was standing next to.
Oh my God.
And then they have a screaming argument, and then she drives away with the beat-up car. So that's a pretty messed up story for one night in South Africa.
At the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, Monte Carlo. According to Don, it's the hottest place in the world. That was a rib.
I mean, that's very on brand for Don Callis, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, Don was playing a rib on us. He knew I'd be as uncomfortable as possible. Oh, it's a great place to put Joe. He'll sit there. He'll go like Sheldon Cooper at a Motorhead concert.
Did they stay together? Do you know?
No, to the best of my knowledge, he left. I think he lives in California now.
Okay.
Which I can't blame him, but I mean, she was a hooker. I think it's kind of a red flag before you start the proposal process, right?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Another, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong here or not, but another bizarre adventure you had was you were on the Turkish version of American Gladiator?
No, I was, they were talking to me about doing that because I was on a TV show in England called Celebrity Wrestling. In England, it was called Celebrity Wrestling. I coached 6 celebrities. D'Lo Brown coached 6 celebrities. And then they had like American Gladiators games against each other, and it was hosted by Roddy Piper.
Okay. And what was that like, being... I mean, obviously you were working with Roddy Piper, and obviously you're on, English TV.
Well, I loved it. I mean, when I had to sign up for it without knowing what it was. They said, we want to offer you this deal. Here's the money we're talking, but I can't tell you about it until you sign because we don't want the word getting out about what this is. I'm like, okay. So it was for ITV. ITV used to run World of Sport Wrestling on TV over there, so they have a long history of running wrestling. ITV does. So I signed on because the money was good. And they said D'Lo Brown was involved. And I've known D'Lo forever. He's a great guy. So we show up in London, and they take us to ITV studios, and they bring us up to the offices, meet all the producers and stuff. Very nice. And so we're sitting there, and I'm like, I really want to know, because they keep talking concept. And I'm like, it's wrestling. I know what wrestling is. You don't have to call it a concept. And then they start handing us these pamphlets. They go, okay, and here's the game towers and yada, yada. I'm like, game tower? That doesn't sound like a wrestling ring to me. So I thumb through and I look at it, and I'm like, oh, this is American Gladiators. And like, it's like in the movies when you hear like the record skip and everybody stops and you hear the fork hit the plate and everybody turns and stares at the guy and the spotlight goes on him.
Right.
And I'm like, what? And they go, you can't call it Gladiators. I'm like, why not? They said, well, Gladiators is a BBC property for ITV, and I'm like, well, you can call it Day Rape if you want. Still fucking, there's Gladiators. That's what we're doing here. They go, no, we've done focus groups. They get right hot at me. I'm like, look, I'm not like, I'm signed on. I'll do it. I'm not saying I won't do it, but I think we should call a spade here, and this is very Gladiators-ish. I think the name of the show is wrong. I'd be remiss to see a problem and not point it out. You can always tell me we're doing it anyways. You can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's best that I tell you if I see something wrong, and you can either remedy it or at least you know about it. Then if something fucks up, it's not on me that I should have said something. I said, like with Roddy involved, you have your wrestling audience. With D'Lo, your wrestling base is covered. With me, to a lesser extent, you've got your bases covered for wrestling. But to call it celebrity wrestling is misleading, because people who don't like wrestling are going to see celebrity wrestling and not going to watch it because it says wrestling. People who do like wrestling are going to tune in and then be pissed off that it's not wrestling. And they gave me the focus group speech again. I was like, okay, I'd call it celebrity combat, celebrity challenge, something. But I think celebrity wrestling is misleading. I think it's going to bite us in the ass. They said, no, we've gone to great lengths. I said, all right, well, I'm in. Like, I signed up. I'm happy to get paid. And then sure enough, when they put it on TV, we did great numbers the first night, even though they put us up against the rebirth of Doctor Who, which is like a British institution on BBC. So they put us against like the #1 show on British television outside of soccer, which, kind of hamstrung us a little bit. But then on top of it, people tuned in and said, well, they liked us, but this isn't wrestling. What the hell are they doing? That isn't wrestling. And that's exactly what I said. And D'Lo agreed and Roddy agreed. But they said, look, especially Roddy. Roddy's like, look, I told them that just collect your paycheck. And, if it works out, you collect another one. If it doesn't, then it wasn't meant to be. And to be honest, like, the three influences that I took to get into wrestling, I decided to pick my three favorites and then pick the best stuff from those three and emulate it, were Flair, Savage, and Piper. Because Piper was the best heel in the history of the business. He always made everybody else look the best wrestler, and he could talk you into the building. Flair was probably the best quarterback in the business. He could take anybody and make him look a star. He could take a broom out there and do 60 minutes. And Savage was just a star. As soon as he came through the curtain, you couldn't take your eyes off him. The man just had a star quality. Those were the three things I really, wanted to emulate. So then I get to do a show with Piper. And they say, don't meet your heroes because they'll let you down. Piper was the exception to the rule. Piper was cooler than I could have hoped. The nicest guy in the world. And then on top of it, like afterwards, we still stayed in touch. I'd give him a call every now and again. And I could wind him up. Like when you talk to him, he always sounded like he was 3 joints in. And you're like, hey, Rod, how you doing? Hey, Brian, how you doing, Joey? It's all right. You've been good. Does he sound like Jimmy Snuka guy? And then I said, I saw you on, saw you in the Royal Rumble there. Yeah, I'm not sure why I did it. I guess the payday probably didn't piss you off too much. And then he just, when you got kids to feed, you understand? And I'd get a Piper's Pit on the phone. It was great. So, yeah, the celebrity wrestling, my team won the men's championship, the women's championship, and the overall championship. We hit all 3. I got the trophy still in the house here.
Awesome.
I just wish the show I wish it had been more successful because I won. I have a feeling, I don't think they would have had D'Lo back. I think they would have got a new coach and that would be the rivalries. They probably have D'Lo back, like almost like Apollo was helping Rocky. I'd have D'Lo come back to be on there to give me a hand or something. But I think they would have had new coaches every time for the new celebrities. So I would have at least got a second season, and hopefully my team would win. But if not, then they bounce me up type thing. I think that was the plan. But since the first series didn't do well, for multiple reasons, I had a great experience, but it was a one-off.
Another show that you're a part of is Emergency LA. What has that been like?
Well, I read the scripts and everything else. My buddy Len Davies, he was the guy behind that. He's a British guy. He moved to LA to do it, but unfortunately Len passed away a few years ago. So I know his son's still working in LA and everything, but I don't know if he's still moving that project forward. I'd love to do it for sure, even just in Len's memory, let alone obviously financially beneficial to me, but just in the idea of keeping Len's memory alive, it'd be great. But I'm not sure anything's going to move forward on it, unfortunately. Len had it from last time I talked to him before he got ill. It seemed like it was almost ready to go. So it's a shame that he passed before he could see his dream come to realization.
Hopefully that does get released.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do it. Like I say, the other stuff I'm doing, I've got a movie I can't talk. I asked if I could talk about it. I can't. There's a movie I'll be playing a soldier in, so I don't know if I have to cut my hair or not. I was supposed to be flying out to film some of that in December and January, but also the stuff I'm doing with Crystal. There's Marie's World. There's Wake Up His Wife. She's like three of her books, and 1 or 2 of the ones that I'm involved in. She's done stuff on her own and stuff with me. But it looks like January or February, we might be heading out to LA to film some of them. So those projects will be getting up and running very shortly, apparently.
I think that's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say that they're making a movie about you, which does seem very possible at this point. Every movie has a soundtrack. what would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh gosh. See, all the stuff I'd want to hear is not kind of mainstream. See, I'm a big Motorhead guy, but like Motorhead has a loyal fan base. But,
Hey, nothing wrong with
I'd like to no, but well, the thing is, there's a band called Saga, right? They're a prog rock band from Toronto. They're big in Europe. They're not very big in Canada, unfortunately. But they've been around since late 70s, early 80s. Anyways, one of my best friends, Mike Thorne, he's their drummer. We used to skip class in high school to go to his house and listen to Rush and Saga CDs. So I would love to have a song on my soundtrack that Mike was drumming on. Something from one of Saga's, even if they read it on the loose or something. But something where I knew Mike was on there. That would be important to me. My friend Chris, he's the bass player for Anvil, the thrash band. There's a documentary called Anvil, the story of Anvil. He joined the band after that documentary, unfortunately. I kind of want to have, just because he's a buddy, I'd love to have his stuff on there too. But if it's just stuff where I don't have to, it's just major stuff that anybody's heard of, like mainstream stuff. I'd love to have Master of Puppets, Metallica. My son and I have bonded over that. I took my son to his first concert. We went to Hamburg to see Metallica together. Like 80,000 people. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to have something from Alice Cooper. I'm a huge Coop fan. I just got to see that him and Judas Priest opened for the Scorpions on their 60th anniversary show here in Hanover. My buddy Mike, the Saga drummer, he came into town and we went and saw him. He got us backstage passes and we got to go meet the drummer Mickey D. He's friends with. He's the drummer for Scorpions, but he used to be the drummer for Motorhead. So I was like, yes, I'm a Motorhead guy. So seeing Coop again, I'd love to see something. Maybe Brutal Planet from Coop. Brutal Planet's a good tune. And depending on the subject matter, maybe, because I was real tight with my dad before he passed, there's a song that's going to seem weird with the other two things. There's a song called Fathers and Sons by Waylon Jennings, which, I don't know, it puts a lump in my throat when I hear it because I think about my dad. So I'd love to have that represented in a story about me. I thought you were going to ask me who'd play me. And if it's Disney Plus making the movie, I'd say it'd probably be Mr. T. I love that guy.
Well, this is definitely a solid soundtrack, honestly. Some great songs for sure. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then we go to casting, which you already said Mr. T will play you. So, got that out of the way. In a perfect world. In a perfect world, yeah. But every movie also has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
3 people significant. Well, the thing is, my sons are my best friends. And they're 17. Maverick looks like he's going to go pro playing handball. So he's already an athlete. And Connor does his first bodybuilding show in April. So if I were to have those 2 guys, because they're 2 of the most important people in my life, I would have them play themselves. They debut as themselves.
Fair enough.
And for Ron Hutchison, I would get James Woods. I think James Woods would be awesome.
Okay. And
yeah, James Woods is the dude. Just for the sense of humor on Family Guy, let alone all the good stuff he's done, like actually as a dramatic actor.
And one more.
One more? Oh, okay, one more. question. Let's see. I'm trying to think, because like there's a dozen people I'm thinking of, but like for all my high school buddies, I don't want to pick one over the rest because they're all my pals, you know. Let's see. Actually, we'll have Mr. T play Sweet Daddy Siki.
That sounds amazing.
I think he'd do a good job, and they're both sweet people. It seems. T, every time I see him, he seems like a sweet person, and Siki was a very sweet man. So now I got to find somebody to play me. Goodness gracious me. You see, anybody I say, it's going to be, because they're already Hollywood, they're going to be like handsome people. I'm going to be acting like I'm acting like, oh yeah, I look like that guy, and I just don't.
Hey, I mean, nobody's going to judge you for picking a celebrity.
Oh golly, I don't know. I don't know who, truthfully, who'd play me. I don't know. You know who? I'd like to see. What's me? Hugh Jackman play me. That guy could do anything, but that guy can sing and dance, and you never expect it. So I bet you he's got other hidden talents. He could probably be a mouthpiece like me, and you'd never know it until you saw it. He has secret talents. He'd be able to pull it off. I think he's good.
Hell yeah. This is sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster to say the least. And you can pre-order the tickets now.
That's right. It'd be huge for my couples and couples of fans.
On to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Love it. Can't have a pizza without it.
Really?
Yeah, I love pineapple. I just love pineapple in general. When I lived in Puerto Rico, I ate fresh pineapple every day. I love it.
Okay, so we are very pro pineapple on pizza.
Absolutely. You know what's weirdly good? They had it here on the year 2000 at the Millennium Pizza Hut. It's the Millennium Pizza. They had peach. And I thought, ew. But if you got the Millennium Pizza, they gave you a pitcher of cola, and the pitcher was like from Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So just so I could get the picture of the Star Wars thing, I ordered that pizza, and it's actually really good. I didn't expect peach to be good, but it was all right.
That is definitely something new.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since, but it was, for the time I had it, it was all right.
All right. What's your spirit Pokemon?
I don't know. My kids were well into it. And I tried to understand it, and I failed. Like, they kept telling me about all these different ones, Shiggy, and I don't know. I took them to the cinema to see when they were little. There was a Pokemon movie here, and it seemed like just like 5 different Pokemon cartoons just kind of stuck together. But I thought, I'm going to go see this scummy thing, and by the end of the film, I'm going to have this thing figured out, because I don't get it at all. And I watched it for an hour and 45 minutes, and then my boys are Connor and Maverick. So Connor kind of elbows me. He goes, Papa, do you understand now? I'm like, I'm more lost when I walked in here. Like, what the hell's going on? Who's this guy? It looks like a deer, but it's kind of a dog, and it's the most powerful monster of these Pokemons. He's like, yeah. I said, and he wants to destroy the universe. He's like, yeah. I go, but he's a good guy. He goes, yeah. I go, how does that work? That's impossible. That doesn't work. You throw a ball. This thing wants to get away from you. Throw a ball, you catch the thing, and then it's all of a sudden your best friend. Like this, it's just Stockholm syndrome. I don't understand it. Sorry if I'm getting wound up here, but I never understood Pokemon. So you pick one. There's one called Charizard or something. Yes. So I'll say that just because I know of it. The name's vaguely familiar.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked that question just for that answer. Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully.
That's fine. That's okay. I like stuff that stands out.
Oh, no, I'm asking the weirdest question, hopefully.
Oh, we got more? Oh, God, okay. Hit me.
Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
How big is it?
around the size of a shoe, I would say.
Oh, I could do that. I do it at the gym just to show it can be done. I know guys teach classes where you got to wrestle the invisible man so you can show that you can work with anybody type thing.
Right.
I could do that with a rock. But if you had like the big boulder from Indiana Jones, I will call that Plan B. But if it's just a little rock size for sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could pull that off.
Well, just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike. I believe you've been in the ring with him. That wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
I see. And The Rock won by outsmarting him?
Technically, The Rock won by, well, they tied. It was 319 to 319. Because The Rock was the world champion and they tied, the Rock retained.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
It's very, very Rocky one. Okay.
Yeah, Psycho Mike. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, if these film projects go through as strong as they're supposed to, doing more of that stuff. But apparently this thing in India, I'll be able to announce more about it this upcoming Sunday, but this is being broadcast out much later. This is going into November that you said this thing is going to be posted, right?
Yes.
For this Sunday. But apparently the India thing is going to be a big deal into next year. It's going to go through a few different countries. So I'll be doing more of that stuff, but also I'll still probably be training people. I'll be traveling a lot to go to my son's bodybuilding events and still going to the gym with him every day. And going all over the shop, maybe all over the world with Maverick, watching him play handball. I'm a shamelessly obsessive dad.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I love it. I wear that badge proudly. As long as he's not doing anything with Pokemon.
To be honest, I'll let them have it. After that film, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to be supportive. You like it, I'm just going to say how great it is. I have no clue what's going on. I'm absolutely lost because of that.
Since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
8 questions of what?
Of doom.
8 doom. Okay, fair enough. Sure.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Okay. All right. Let's have a crack at it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Kurt Angle.
Worst wrestler.
Oh, what the heck was his name? The Great Tola, guy in South Africa. That was hard work working with him.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Chi Cruz.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Didn't Adam have something to do with Rob Zombie? Didn't Adam have... No.
Yeah.
One of Triple H's Motorhead things. One of those King of Kings or something like that. Anything to do with Motorhead. I'm a big Motorhead guy.
Okay. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
valuable, but almost dead.
We would have also accepted tastes great on toast. Squash, vegetable or fruit?
Gross, regardless. I hate squash. It's terrible.
So is it a vegetable or a fruit?
Oh, make it a vegetable. I prefer fruits to vegetables, and I hate squash, so we'll call it a vegetable.
Well, it is indeed a fruit.
Ah!
Yes.
We like to call it alternative lifestyle. Come on.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
The appropriate?
Yes.
I don't know how to qualify this. The ones that fit like a superhero were Lex Luger's All-American pants in the when he was doing the All-America thing for WWF. Those look like a superhero, but if it's a guy like Kobashi, then he wears them bigger and higher because he's got a bit of a drum. So it depends on the body of the person wearing it.
So basically full coverage.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. We shouldn't be able to tell what religion you are.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I have had conversations about different wrestlers in the grocery store. I've been stopped and asked about it, but Darby Allin wasn't one of them. I don't know enough about Darby Allin to have a conversation about him.
And that is the correct answer.
Ah, there we go.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me shill the book. Joey Legend, and no, I haven't heard of you either. Available on Amazon, and just a wonderful gift for the holiday. Book 1 of 3 right now. There's going to be 2 more. The second one tentatively is titled Joey Legend, and what the hell was it? Joey Legend, well, that didn't go to plan. And the third one is Joey Legend, will you just get to the effing point?
And where can we find you on social media as well?
Let's see, on Twitter, it's Lord Joey Legend. I believe it's Joey Legend on Facebook. But you gotta look for the picture in the corner of me with the white background and the Japanese belt. Also, Joey E. Hitchin, my real last name. That one I'm on a lot. And Instagram, I think, is it might say Joey Legend. I think it says Joey Legend. I don't think there's Lord in front of it. And if you want to email me, available for bookings. I've proven I'll go anywhere. legendwrestling@hotmail.com.
And merchandise?
Oh golly. There is merchandise for me. It's coming out if you go to the Catch Wrestling Promotions site on Facebook. They have a store there. And there's 3 or 4 different shirts for me on there. And yeah, I'm always bringing stuff. If I'm wrestling, chances are I've got pictures and flags and all kinds of nonsense. I used to sell CDs, but now nobody has CD players anymore, so right. That's kind of like. But yeah, the T-shirts are now, and also W3L in Scotland has a T-shirt for me as well.
Perfect. All right. And you don't have to type it into your Google machines. All of the links to all his social media and his book will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn book.
Yes, absolutely, please.
Of course,
Christmas is expensive.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment, okay?
Absolutely.
For our special guest, Joey Legend, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.